Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, once again, lots to cover. And let me start off by saying thank you to those who are donating to our fundraiser. We are raising a lot of money. I'm so impressed with you guys. All right, let's move on. Let's go. We're starting off with Queen Camilla, who shared a special New Year's Day message for BFBS Radio that celebrated its 80th anniversary. Now, Camilla has been their patron since 2021. She wished the charity a happy new year. She applauded their work in fostering a sense of community among all of those connected with the military family, and she praised serving personnel for their courage and adaptability. Love it. She also talked about her father being a prisoner of war in Germany, which I had no idea about. Anyway, it was a very nice speech. All right, moving on. All right, next up, Naomi Skye put this up. I pray it's true. She says that Neil Sean is saying that staffers from the Sussex Survivor Club have lawyered up and are moving ahead in an attempt to get out of their NDAs because they want to tell their side of the story of what really went on, especially since the palace will not release the bullying report. I hope that's true, and I hope they succeed. All right, moving on. All right, next up, I just had to put this up. Kinsey Schofield, she's a royal commentary person. We've seen her on TV all the time. She has defended Prince Harry to the death, and people were really mad at her, and she got a lot of criticism from her peers. She worked with public relations for a decade, and she said so she thought she understood Harry's objective, which she thought was to brand himself as a thought leader. She says now she's saying, I was an idiot. She said the victimhood narrative is a lucrative part of the Sussex brand, and for 3 years, all they've done is moan and groan about their treatment with the institution that gave them the platform that they're whining from. So at this point, she's basically apologizing to everybody because she said, just imagine if Harry and Meghan had come to the USA, got relationships with exceptional charities, and quietly developed programs for the underprivileged and, help the homeless vets and all that stuff instead of Oprah and Netflix. Good point. All right, moving on. Next up, they're saying, now you understand why the royal family has the never explain, never complain mantra that Harry says, whatever. Because the more they complain, and I've shown you this in the past, the more they complain, William and Catherine's popularity is going up. And Harry and Meghan's popularity is plummeting. And they don't even see it. It's like, stop. But they can't help themselves. I mean, even politicians, this is why they're trying to take the Sussex titles away, Parliament is. MP Tim Lawton sat down and watched the 60-minute trailer, just the trailer, and put out a tweet telling Harry to shut up already. It's like, my goodness. Now, for those people who got the book early, there is a person who read it and put up a review. I couldn't believe it. It's exactly what I said it was going to be. It's the Netflix documentary with long explanations. Neither one of them comes over well, and one took note that Meghan fell out with nearly everybody that she's ever gotten involved in, whether it's family or a member of stuff. There seems to be no responsibility for the harm they're doing to the British royal family because they're self-obsessed. Well, what did I tell you guys the book was going to be? Exactly. And with that being said, Neil Sean said the exact same thing I said. They're not trying to make money. They're just trying to sell the book. That's why it's so discounted, because they want to be able to say it's a bestseller, no matter whether they make money on it or not. Now, of course, Harry said he was going to donate profits, but those are drying up very quickly. So with the book in the end games, everybody's like, what's his end game? What does he want? He wants the half in, half out model that the Queen already rejected. That's what he and Meghan want. Here's the list of what they want. They want their diplomatic status, their IPP status. They want police security. They want to go to state events with dignitaries. Harry wants his military honors back. They want titles for their children. You know, I've spoken to you guys before about Bethany Frankel. She says it like it is. And she even said that, she looked at her feed, she saw Harry talking to Anderson Cooper, and she was like, is this 2023? I feel like it's Groundhog Day. It's the exact same thing over and over and over again. Now, I have to bring this up again. Now, a lot of people are picking holes in Harry's talk about the family shows no interest in reconciling with us. If the family didn't want to reconcile, you wouldn't have received an invitation to Christmas, which you got, but you decided not to go to. You would not have received an invitation to the Platinum Jubilee, which you got, but you decided not to go to. Everybody knows that Harry has become Meghan's puppet. As soon as he started quoting Martin Luther King and plagiarizing, you know that that information was given to him by Meghan. She's telling him what to say. And this whole thing of, I want to get back with my family is just a PR ploy, people. Just twice last year, they were invited to Highgrove and there would be high security, and they said no, thank you. The majority of people have seen through it. They know that they've been invited to things, but they're choosing not to go. That just blows their argument of the family doesn't want us around right out of the water. No, the family doesn't trust you anymore. That's what's happening. All right, I just had to throw this in here. This is coming out that Meghan's going to release her own bombshell memoir. And then it came out she's not writing a memoir. Betcha she is. All right, here we go. Nelson Mandela's granddaughter is on the warpath. She said, and I'm quoting, Harry needs to be authentic and stick to his own story. What relevance does Granddad's life have with his life, she said. She said, I don't believe he nor Meghan ever properly met Granddad. Maybe when Harry was young at Buckingham Palace. She pointed out that Harry and Meghan are using quotations in the documentary, that one that flopped, to draw people in to make millions without the Mandela family benefiting. And the Nelson Mandela Foundation has supported the initiative, but now people have stolen his grandfather's or her grandfather's quotes. The granddaughter said that people have used her grandfather's legacy because they know that his name sells, and basically Harry and Meghan are no different. Wham! She says, I admire Harry for having the confidence to break away from the institution and find his own path, but it comes at a price. And then you have to fund your own life. And she said, I've made peace with people using my granddad's name, but it's still upsetting and tedious every single time it happens. This Live to Lead, which was picked by Harry and Meghan, included Mr. Mandela and Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Greta Thunberg and all this other stuff. But the thing is, they didn't create this. This was done by the Nelson Mandela Foundation, who somehow allowed Harry and Meghan to put their name on it. And my guess is that somehow some money was supposed to change hands and it didn't. And so now the Mandela family is upset. I mean, let's face it, they've latched on to Harry. He gave that speech at the UN that ended up being a joke. They allowed him to do this, but now I think they've had enough of him. I think it's just like when the grandson, struck out at them because Meghan said that, or she compared her wedding to Harry to the amount of time Nelson Mandela spent in prison. I'm not kidding. And Mandela's grandson did not take kindly to that, let me tell you. I think the family's had enough of him. Next up, I had to show you these. Now remember, Harry said that the palace never put out statements to defend them in any way. Well, what the heck do you call these? And for me, when I look at some of these titles, I go, wait a minute, because the palace lied. Like this one, they're denying feud rumors. There was a feud. There was a problem. But the palace was putting out fake news and was denying things that were absolutely true so that Meghan would look better to the public. Okay? So when they keep saying the palace never put out statements and never spoke up on their behalf, that's absolutely not true. But when you go back and you look at some of these statements were absolutely true. Like this one, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are using an LA endorsement firm. Absolutely. Of course, we found out later on they were hooking up with Sunshine Sachs. She had her old agent working behind the scenes to set things up for them. They already had their deal with Netflix at that point, although I don't think the royal family knew about it. So here's the palace denying these things. They're not true. They're not true. And the truth of the matter is, they were true. A lot of them were true. I mean, I think these poor people that worked for them had no idea what direction to go or what to say, because half of this stuff was crap, like this one about the diet pill, but half of it was true. So they just basically denied everything, which made them look bad when they denied things that were true. Next up, I just had to throw this in here. Sharon Osbourne is pointing out that what Harry and Meghan have done by cutting their children off from the rest of the family is really shameful. It's a terrible thing. And I agree, but I don't think Sharon needs to tell them that. I think they realize that every single time they see all the royal family together and all the cousins hanging out together and everybody being raised together as one big happy family. And yet you have Archie, who I think has to be one of the loneliest kids on the planet. And Meghan went on that Netflix documentary and claimed it was the royal family's fault, and they stole that from Archie. That couldn't be further from the truth. Now, as far as the leaks go, I've already shown you that Harry was leaking in his lawsuit, trying to get police protection. But what about Meghan? Well, as I showed you this yesterday, Meghan Markle leaked information from the High Court privacy row that was going on to Omid Scobie. And for those who didn't understand what you were looking at, here it is. This is what the judge was upset about, because she leaked those documents to Omid Scobie, who we found out later on used Meghan to help write that book. And of course, it was found out later on that they were the ones leaking information to the media about the drones flying over their head. One of the people used the Freedom of Information Act to get that information. So I just find it amazing that Harry and Meghan are going on about the palace leaking stories when these two are leaking stories. I have to agree with this person on Twitter who said that why the leaking of a proposal for them to go and live in a Commonwealth country was scrapped because it was leaked. Why would that be scrapped? Like, wouldn't everybody know where you would be once you moved there? Wouldn't it have been announced? But since it was leaked, you're saying that it wasn't possible? That makes no sense. I have to agree with this Twitter user who said they wonder why they only want to reconcile with the rich, white bastion of imperialism, the cruel, jealous, and racist, but incredibly wealthy relatives, but not any of the Markles or the Raglans. I agree. And lastly, I'm putting up this picture from this Twitter user simply because I love the quote at the bottom. Beware the fury of a patient man. Or there's another quote that I've heard of that I really like, which says, vengeance is patient and can last a lifetime if necessary. Boom. All right, I wanted to give you guys a quick update. As of the day that I'm doing this video, I work 24 hours behind, which is January 4th. It's almost noon. This is how much money has been raised so far for the charity. You guys are just phenomenal. Now, remember, I'm going to match up to $500. Obviously, I hope we go way over that. And this is the money that's going to the charity in the UK. And then in February, we'll do another fundraiser for a charity in the United States. But I am so proud of you guys. All right, you know what I want. Hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified of my uploads. And if you've already hit the button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed, because for some reason, people are still being unsubscribed. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Don't forget to go up into the description box and you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email address, my Patreon account. All right. And for those of you who have donated to the coffee fund for the charity, thank you very much. For those of you who have donated to the thanks button for me, thank you very much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.